Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and I finished building my Tamiya Avante Black re-release. I picked this up, I don't know, a couple weeks ago and spent about 6 or 7 hours getting it to this shape. I'm not completely done. I do need to do the electronics and paint the body, but other than that, I'm pretty much done with all the mechanical stuff. Also, special shout to Your RC for sponsoring this series of videos. They carry, pretty much all the Tamiyas, HPI Racing, Team Corrali, Arma, Traxxas, pretty much everything that you could want, including a bunch of stuff you may not be able to get in the US. A lot of these kits are basically sold out everywhere in the US, like the Avante Black is sold out everywhere. So checking them out, you may be able to find some kits that you can't find even in the US. And we do have a 5% off coupon code, so make sure to use that. Shipping can be a little bit expensive, but actually for kits like this, it's not too bad. And using that code and checking them out does help make videos like this possible. So I did want to thank them for that. I also wanted to just share my thoughts on the build and how it went, and some of my initial thoughts looking at the vehicle. The kit is pretty weird. I wouldn't say it's an easy build. If you've never built a kit before, I would not say this is a good one to start with, because it is pretty strange. There are kind of like some tricks and stuff that you use that you may not know if you've never built an RC car before. It's not impossible, but certainly, if you don't do it right, things may fall off while you're driving it. My buddy over there at Emperor Engineering, he did give me a tip, which is Loctite, like everything metal to metal, and I would agree with that. Everything is metal on this car besides the chassis, basically. I mean, the shocks, all these links and stuff, metal parts holding everything off. You pretty much need a full tube of Loctite because there's so much metal in this car, and that's really what makes this car kind of interesting. The chassis itself is carbon fiber, really, really light. I mean, it does have some ABS plastic transmission cases, and obviously gears inside there are nylon. Those parts are quite light, but the corners of this vehicle are super heavy because everything has this crazy like multi-link, all metal, suspension. So it's not like standard double wishbone or anything like that. It's just got these aluminum links, I guess you call them, with steel like threaded rod everywhere. So I think they did that just to make some, a lot of tuning adjustments. You can obviously adjust camber, you can adjust toe. It does have this funky little like shock absorber in the front, so if you smash the arms, it actually kind of bends this I don't know what you call this plastic piece in here, kind of gives so you don't destroy your arms. Pretty interesting design. Nice little carbon Ackerman plate up front. Does seem to not have a whole ton of Ackerman. Maybe something, if you designed a different Ackerman plate would probably help a little bit. Rear end is equally strange. Upper camber link, adjustable toe with these links down here. Actually, mine are probably not even symmetrical, so you can actually adjust the toe. And then I don't know, we call this the trailing link. So really, really strange vehicle. Overall, the kit, it's okay, build wise. I did find some parts having to pretty much search through bags, and that's pretty typical for Tamiya. Their notation is kind of strange on all these things. Like, if you ever wondered, B stands for bag A, and then the 9. I don't even know what the 9 means, but basically all the bag A parts come in a bunch of like mini bags, and you end up with like 50 different pieces. So you do have to kind of search through all the little bags to find stuff. Things are not exactly in order. Like some of these pieces, like I think even the Eclipse, I did, it says it's in bag A, but I ended up having to like go into bag C and grabbing one just because they didn't supply all the parts in the right bags. Some of these other things like the shock absorber, so like a lot of these little diagrams about the different washers, there's no color. You can't tell exactly what that looks like. It's hard to tell. Even like these shaft guides, they call them. I mean, it just looks like a standard washer. It doesn't even look like that. It's actually the white plastic nylon pieces, which are the shaft guides, I guess. But they're just smooth. There's no extra ridge or anything like that. So I did find that a little bit odd. It does have some interesting, unique things as well. Like I think these nuts right here, it says it's actually like the mini or thin nuts, but it's actually the thick ones in my opinion. Not 100% sure, but I didn't find any other thin nuts, so that's the one I'm using. And the ones here on the actual hubs are the thin ones that you know, originally I used that there because it said thin nut, but you know, actually I think it belongs over there, so it wouldn't fit otherwise. So yeah, a lot of little weird quirks like that, to me, as in my opinion, are a little bit weird to build, a little bit hard to, you know, half the work is really just finding the pieces that you need. So finding the parts tree and then, you know, snipping it and then using it and making sure you use the right part. And then oftentimes, obviously, if you use the wrong part, you have to go back and rebuild it. I think even like the propeller shaft, I forget, yeah, I think it's this one. There's two different bearings that actually fit. You know, there's the thin ones and the thick ones, and you want to make sure you use the right bearing, because it would be a pain if you stuck in the wrong bearing in the transmission. Ask me how I know. So overall, yeah, the kit, it went together okay. It's just, you know, not the easiest thing, and just make sure you use a lot of thread lock. Make sure you double check all the parts. They do use dimensions and stuff and parts diagrams, so you always want to use the right part, because otherwise you'll find you have to go back and disassemble stuff and reassemble it. Now, looking at the vehicle, I do notice kind of some weird things about the way it's kind of sitting as is. The front has absolutely zero droop. It really should be hanging down about another 3/4 of an inch or so. It's like way higher above the chassis. Rear looks okay, you know, maybe a little bit much. Suspension wise, feels way oversprung in the front. Back is not as bad, especially if you throw in you know, heavy battery and stuff. But the front, yeah, I think the shock geometry, you know, the shocks are probably too short. They're angled weird for some reason. That actually induces a bit of bind. They're oversprung, probably underdamped as well. I think even maybe removing the sway bar might help a little bit, or lengthening the shocks, probably, you know, unscrewing the rod ends would probably help the geometry of this thing a little bit. I did run the upper camber links on the lower hull. We'll see how that goes. I think the manual calls for the upper hull, but I think that might actually drive a little bit better that way. Have a little more roll in the front, probably get a little more steering. I think a different Ackerman plate would probably help as well. The sway bars are really interesting because they're kind of mounted in the front, so I think smashing the front into something would kind of probably add tension onto the sway bar. They also use these little links, I guess, or I don't know what you call these, holders right here on the sides, and they are adjustable. So I don't know if you angle them differently, maybe you would make it a little bit stiffer. So maybe that's more adjustment. A lot of the changes, or a lot of the design elements of this thing, it's almost like they did it for adjustability, because like in the rear, you got rear toe, you got upper camber links. This link probably does something if you lengthen or shorten it or something. Maybe you get a little bit more wheelbase. I don't really know. It is just really interesting overall. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts of the Tamiya Avante Black Special. I will be adding the electronics, painting the body. The body says to use smoke, like 3 layers of black smoke. Seems like most people just paint it plain black, so I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably try the smoke and then back it with black, or maybe I'll use black metallic. Let me know what you think. But yeah, I got to do that, electronics, and then the ever scary application of decals. But yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Look for running videos of this soon once I get the completion, and hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe buttons. Look for more videos soon. Take care.